Greetings to you. I want to speak about challenging years, months, and days. Have you ever wondered why some periods of your life are usually harder than some others? For example, there are some years whereby you find things much more easier, while some years you find things much more tougher, no matter how the kind of effort that you put into those periods of time. Most time, people even always think that they have a spiritual problem. Now, here's my video and breakdown that will make you understand what is happening and how to identify those periods of time. My name is Akinyemi, and I help people have a clear mindset on what is happening to them, whether they are facing financial difficulties or relationship and marital issues. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can get more information about what this entails and how you can keep a balance in your life. So now let's move on to the challenging years, months, and days in details. Now, here is a visual example of what I've sent to those, or what I do send to those who are on my consultation list or those who book readings with me or a session with me. So if you look at these reports that are highlighted, you will notice that I indicated the challenging days for a particular month, the prime days for the particular month, and the neutral days for a particular month. We all know that in terms of energy, which everything in the universe consists of energy, we always have the positive, we always have the negative, and we always have the neutral. So that's the basis or the logic behind the challenging days, the prime days, and the neutral days. Now, that aside, now let's go into details why you must identify this period of time. Why is it important for you to identify this period of time, whether in the year, in the month, and a day? Have it in mind that you can get to know these things ahead of time. You can get to know your challenging years ahead of time. You can get to know your challenging months ahead of time. You can get to know your challenging days ahead of time. If you're interested in that, you can also book a private reading for me where you get the calendar. It's going to indicate all these things. Now, let's move on to the next. Why is it important to identify your challenging years ahead of time? It is important to identify your challenging years ahead of time because you'll be able to prepare ahead of time. Right? You'll be able to know what to do at that period of time to make the best out of it, and also what not to do to also avoid the setbacks that come with that period of time. Managing that period of time is actually critical and is actually essential to have a balanced life. So moving on. Now, let's also look at some other parts so that we can also get to understand this video as as I carry you along. Again, remember to don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can get notified when I post more videos. If you find this video also interesting, you can also share it to more people. Also, you can also do a private reading with me. It's going to help you a lot more in that regard. Now, what does it feel like to be in your challenging year, months, or days? Now, most people in their challenging years always feel that they are spiritually attacked one way or the other because things that you must have been doing before now will just begin to go back. All of a sudden, people lose gifts during that period of time. People go bankrupt during that period of time and start to sell their assets. People start losing in terms of investment. A lot of things happen during people's challenging years, months, and days. The one that shakes people the most is the challenging year. However, we also have the challenging month, which means peculiar months or specific months are also challenging based on the programs and based on the calendar. Those months, you might need to do something much more different to make the best out of them. So this is the reason why you must identify them because you have to identify them first before you can make the best out of them. Challenging days are also a little lesser because you might not you might be compensated for other days, which might not really be draining. But one thing that I've noticed also in my own research or analysis is that when you have a challenging month at the beginning of the year, it automatically also happens in the end of the year. So if you have it in January, February, March, any of the 3 months I mentioned, you have a chance of actually having it again in October, November, or December. And this would now make you look like that year is actually a bad year. It's because you're unable to figure out how to work with that period of time That is why it looks like a bad period to you. But that's what challenging years and months and days all about. People lose gigs, people go bankrupt. Before we end this video, I'm also going to give basic examples of people that are in the public space that have experienced this thing with evidence, right? I mean, when they spoke out, you can see an evidence that it happened to them. I'm going to give an example of Femi Otedola, a very, very known businessman in Nigeria. And I'm going to give another example of Elon Musk, who is worldwide known. These are basic examples I'm going to give. So that's to show that nobody is exempted from these things. It's the way the calendar works. And you, as a person, must pay attention to it to keep the balance in your life. So let's move on again. Now, Femi Otedola is a very basic example because in 2024, he actually spoke out how he went bankrupt in 2008. And, he wondered why that happened to him after losing 480 million naira. This is a typical example of what happens to people during their challenging year. Now, I'm going to use a very powerful tool of mine, which was built to also, indicate all these period of times ahead of time, right? It's a 7-schema tool, personality tool. So I'm going to puncture that his birthday. So he was born on 4th of November 1962. And after puncturing, it will indicate here. So you see that his challenging years were 2008 and 2009. I'm sure that those 2 years, that he lost those investments, he actually thought he had a spiritual calling. Because according to him, he also indicated that, according to his tweets, he also indicated that he nearly committed suicide in that very year. This is how people feel in their challenging. Things go out of hand. People lose gigs. People lose investment. These I've seen over the years because I've actually done reading for more than 1,000 people, and this is the same thing that happens to them. Most people that are even more affected are people that are born on the 7th, on the 16th, on the 17th, on the 25th, on the 27th. Those who are born in 1970s and those who have their life path 7, who are also life path 7. If you don't know if you have a life path 7 or you don't know your life path number, you can check my website 7schema.com to see your life path number. But let's move on again. We're going to go to the next example, which is the one for Elon Musk. So we also look at his own challenging years and how it affected him. So another typical example here is Elon Musk. And what you can see from basically it. So let's see his own birth date, Elon Musk. Let's see when he was born. And then we'll also be able to see his own challenging years too. So as I pull it up. So he was born on the 28th of June 1971. He's a life path 7. That's by the way, but a challenging year based on the 2. You can also put that out. You will see it here. And one of the challenging years is also very recent, which is 2025. And we all can see the kind of losses that is also incurring in 2025. And that's the most recent one. He also had one in 2023. He had one in other years as indicated in the report. But these are the ways these things affect us as people. So you, whether as a business person or as an entrepreneur or whatever, you need to pay attention to how the calendar affects your life. This is the main reason why you need to get to identify those challenging times that will enable you not to have setbacks during those period of time. If you also book a private reading with me, you also get to know what to do in that period of time based on your birthday to make the best out of it. So we're going to move on, but these are the ways these things affect us as people, right? And this is what you have to pay attention to. So as I said, we always have it in the years, in the whole year. We always have it on the month, peculiar months, and then we always have it in the days. For example, those who have 7 in their birthday one way or the other experience this same thing in 2023. So if they also invested in 2023, it would have also led to losses. And the only time that they would have also got a relief for themselves, which is not a coincidence, it's also November. So these things are no coincidence. You just need to understand how these things are affected. But I'll see you in my next video to explain to you in details some of that thing. But you can book a private reading to get analysis to this. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel to get more information on things like this. A lot of people always think that they have a spiritual problem, but until they speak to me, before they realize that they don't actually have the spiritual problem that they say they have. Right? I mean, that's the feeling when you are faced with financial challenges or relationship matters. You begin to feel all rational. It happens. Furthermore, don't forget to also subscribe to my YouTube channel to get notified when I post more videos. Cheers.